The office party was already loud when I walked in, but the moment I stepped through doors, it felt like the noise folded in on itself. Something in the atmosphere was off, heavy, like the room knew something I hadn't been told. My wife had been distant all day. Short replies, avoided calls, a quietness that didn't match her usual energy. I figured she was just stressed from work. But the instant my eyes found her across the hall, my stomach tightened into a knot. She wasn't laughing the way she normally did at office events. Her smile looked glued on, her shoulders tense. Her eyes flicked around the room like she was waiting for something to happen, or trying to avoid someone entirely. I started moving toward her, weaving through groups of coworkers, enjoying drinks and small talk. But the closer I got, the clearer the situation became. My wife was standing stiffly at the bar, angled away from the man beside her, her boss, and he was standing far too close. The kind of close that didn't need an excuse. Close enough to whisper, without leaning in. Close enough to make anyone watching assume they were something they were not. His posture wasn't friendly. It was possessive, intentional. The way a man behaves when he believes the person beside him belongs to him. I saw her flinch the first time he touched her arm. A quick jerk of discomfort. She tried to hide behind a forced smile. Most people missed it, distracted by music and drinks. But I saw everything. The tiny breath she sucked in, the tension in her neck, the way she pretended the moment didn't exist. And then his hand moved. Lower than any man should ever put his hand on a woman without her permission. He rested his palm on her lower back like it was familiar territory, sliding slowly as if testing the limits he assumed he owned. My wife froze. A couple of co-workers noticed. Some looked away immediately, not wanting to be involved. Others whispered under their breath. But no one stepped in. The entire room watched him behave like her body was his right. And in that moment, I realized this wasn't new. This wasn't the first time. She had been dealing with this man's behavior long before tonight. Alone. Something inside me didn't explode. It didn't burn. It sharpened, cold, controlled, precise. I walked toward them. Slow. Deliberate. My wife spotted me, and relief washed over her face in a way that broke something inside me. Relief like someone who's been underwater too long finally reaching the air. Her boss finally noticed me. He didn't back up. Didn't remove his hand. Didn't even straighten his posture. Instead, he smirked. "So, you're the husband?" He said loudly enough for people nearby to hear, dragging out the word like it was a joke. Like I was an interruption to his evening, not the husband of the woman he was manhandling. My wife whispered, "Please, let's just go home." Her voice trembled, not from fear of me, but fear of the situation. Shame, exhaustion she had clearly been carrying for months. I didn't raise my voice, didn't make a scene. I looked him dead in the eye and said, calm and steady enough to cut through the music, "Take your hand off my wife." The room stilled. Drinks paused midair. Even the DJ seemed to sense a shift. He smirked again. Cowardly confidence, the kind men develop when they think their title makes them untouchable. "Relax," he chuckled. "It's just a friendly gesture. No need to be insecure." My wife stepped away from him, practically peeling herself out of his grip, but he immediately stepped forward again, trying to reclaim the space she created, reestablish dominance in front of an audience. Finally, I took one more step, close enough that only he would hear clearly, but the rest of the room still leaned in to catch every word. "Touch her again," I said quietly, "and this will be the last office event you ever attend as an employee." His smirk twitched. Cracks appeared. Confidence faltered. But arrogance is stubborn, especially in men who've been shielded by power. "You think you can threaten me?" he scoffed. He didn't finish. A voice behind him interrupted. A young employee, barely in her early 20s, holding her drink with shaking hands. "He's not lying," she said. Silence hit the room like a wave. Then another woman spoke. Then another, and another. In less than a minute, multiple employees, voices that had been quiet for years, began exposing him. Unwanted touching, creeping comments, late-night messages, threats, retaliation. The air went ice cold. HR, who had been standing not far away, stepped forward immediately. They asked him to come with them privately. He refused, then panicked, then tried to argue. It didn't matter. His own employees were finally speaking the truth. Within minutes, security walked him toward the exit. The man who strutted around the party like a king now looked like he was being dragged out of his collapsing kingdom. My wife clung to my arm as we left, her body finally shaking with relief. She didn't speak for a long time, and when she finally did, her voice cracked. I didn't know how to make him stop. I realized in how long she'd been carrying fear alone, how many boundaries he'd crossed while pretending to be her superior. This wasn't about ego. It wasn't about claiming territory. It was about protecting the woman I loved from a predator who thought he was unstoppable. But he wasn't unstoppable. He wasn't powerful. He wasn't untouchable. All it took was one moment, one witness, for his entire illusion of authority to crumble. By morning, he was suspended. By afternoon, fired. By evening, everyone in the company knew the truth. He didn't fall because of me. He fell because of the choices he made, and the women he believed would stay silent forever.